UFC. Ladies and gentlemen, we call your attention to midfield, where Sky Blue General Manager Tony Novo is greeting goalkeeper Jillian Lloyden. Last week, Darby Road Restaurant in Scotts Plains hosted our Sky Blue versus Western New York Flash watch party. On the menu were many Sky Blue specials, but most special is Darby Road donated a portion of the evening's proceeds to the Jillian Lloyden Foundation. The JLF was co-founded by Jillian to raise awareness for domestic violence, empowering people to speak up and break the silence, and most importantly, to save lives. We thank Darby Road for helping to make every voice count. And Sky Blue thanks you, Jillian, for giving us so much more than your work on the field. We can learn more about the JLF Every Voice Counts campaign at JillianLloydenFoundation.org. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats. Performing the anthem this evening is Amalia Crevalli.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Amalia. The referee for tonight's match is Bernard Hosu. The first assistant is Albert Calise. The second assistant is Mark Boyko. And the fourth official is Neil Barbalescu. And now for the starting lineups for the visiting Houston Dash. A defender, number 2, Ariana Romero. A defender and captain, number 3, Whitney Engen. A forward, number 7, Kalia Ohai.
Okay, I'm on the team.
At midfield, Kaylin Kyle, number 9. At forward, number 12, Tiffany McCarty. At defender, number 16, Kika Toulouse. In goal, number 18, Bianca Henninger. At forward, number 19, Nina Berger. At forward, number 22 is Stephanie Oakes. At defender, number 23, Marissa Diggs. And in midfield, number 24, Kelly McFarland. The Dash head coach is Randy Waldron. And now, Meridian Health System presents your Sky Blue FC. At defender, number 2, Coco Goodson. At defender, number 4, Caitlin Ford. At forward, number 8, Monica Ocampo. At midfield, number 10, Katie Fields. At forward, number 11, Maya Hayes. At defender, number 12, Ashley Nick. At midfield, and your captain tonight, number 13, Sophie Schmidt. At defender, number 18, Lindsay Cutshall. At defender, number 19, Kelly O'Hara. At defender, number 22, Cammy Levin. And in goal, number 21, Julian Lorden. Your Sky Blue FC is coached by Jim Guevara. He's assisted by Takayoshi Ishihara and Jay Curry. The Sky Blue athletic trainers are Sue Penrod and Mike Hackett.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the NWSL Soccer YouTube channel. It is the season finale for this Sky Blue FC squad, as well as the Houston Dash, and we welcome you to our live coverage of tonight's game. With Danielle Diavanzo, I'm Mike Watts. Thanks for tuning in for this final game of the NWSL season for both these sides. It's difficult in the sense that there are some ulterior motives that could come into this game. Both teams competing for the number 1 overall pick by virtue of Sky Blue's trade earlier this offseason, Lisa Devanna, for Boston's first-round pick, which could be a first overall pick depending on tonight. But when we talk to both coaches, they have no interest in trying to lose this game.
It's just any type of athlete, you can say all around, you're always going to play your hardest, always strive to win. So both teams, you're not going to see them try to throw the game. It's just not in their nature to do so, hence why they're professional athletes.
That's exactly why they're professional athletes. Let's take a look. You saw the starting lineups already. 5 missing starters for the Houston Dash, and they've only got 3 subs tonight. It's going to be tough for them to find a way to come out and win this game with such a short lineup.
When we talked to Coach Waldron before the game, he mentioned we may see McLeod get some playing time on the field if it comes down to that point, although we have seen her use her foot skills throughout the season, normally in the box or just outside of it, but who knows, maybe she'll play a little forward, score a goal, who knows. Does
Erin McLeod have the scoring touch? We may find out tonight. Sky Blue FC looks pretty similar to how they did last time around, although they are missing Christy Rampone.
That is the biggest name missing, Christy Rampone, along with Nadia Nadim, both players called up for national team duty. Christy Rampone playing tonight in North Carolina for the U.S. against Switzerland, and then Nadia Nadim will play Iceland tomorrow in a World Cup qualifier match.
So a big match for especially Nadim, who was such a terrific spark plug throughout this season. When you look into this game, though, Danielle, these are 2 teams that maybe didn't have the year they wanted. For Houston, an expansion team, maybe a bit more expected. But for Sky Blue, how do they try and end this season on a 5-match winning streak? It'd be their longest in franchise history.
They will tie it. Last year they had 5 games in a row that they had won, so they like to tie that up, end the season on a high note. They have been doing so well. You look at the whole team, that's been the difference. They've been playing as a whole unit, defending and attacking together. You saw the last game against Washington, Monica Ocampo playing the center forward position, and she ended up getting the winning goal, so she's got her scoring touch back as well.
So we'll see how it all plays out on the field here tonight. Houston Dash in their orange jerseys with the white shorts. Sky Blue will be moving right to left on your computer screen as we look down to the field now. These 2 teams are really looking for a strong way to end the season, and, well, the best way to do that, I suppose, would be a win. For Houston, they're in the cellar, and I think the one thing Randy Waldrum told us before the game, Danielle, was this is a team that just as well could have had another 15 points had things maybe broken their way at the end of some games this year.
I think both these teams have that same storyline. You look at Sky Blue, if a couple of those ties had been a win, they would be in playoff contention right now versus being the pushing, and eventually having the run come to an end when Chicago tied the Western New York Flash on the Saturday night, 3-3.
Game time in Piscataway. We are underway in the regular season finale, rather a false start. Now we're underway. And it is Sky Blue in the Sky Blue jerseys, white trim moving right to left on your computer screen. Houston in the orange tops, white shorts. They move left to right. Kicked outside for Berger. Ingen will carry ahead. Kicked further by Toulouse for Berger and cut off by Ford. Goal kick earned. Ford able to get in on the defense. So we see Jillian Lloyden in net here again for Sky Blue FC, and as the season has gone along, she has entrenched herself in the starting role, Danielle.
And Jill Lloyden, too, in the Washington game, ended up getting her third clean sheet of the season. And you look at the 4-game win streak that they've had. They've scored 8 goals and only have allowed 3.
It's Bianca Henninger who gets the call over Aaron McLeod. A bit of a surprise for us coming into this game. We thought McLeod would get the start. This is just the 5th start of the season, 7th of her NWSL career for Henninger, wearing the green in the goal to our left. She'll get her first touch here. Had a big shutout against Western New York earlier this year. Or rather, a win, did not shut out Western New York, but did come up with her lone win of the season between the pipes. Brought ahead by McCarty. Couple of big goals against Sky Blue last time around. Berger comes in. Here's the cross, and it's lofted over the top.
A special thanks to Sega ShopRite, proud sponsors of Sky Blue, and the halftime contest to win $10,000 in groceries.
Houston 0-5-0 in their last 5 matches. They've been outscored 13-3. One thing Randy Waldrum told us before this game was this is a team that never gives up. They've done it all year, staying in games late. Here's Hayes latching on from Ocampo. The shot across is too strong and off the left post and out for a goal kick.
It was a good feed by Ocampo, playing that diagonal ball from the center towards the right to Maya Hayes. Hayes, I think, throughout the past month has really improved, and you see her now using her speed more. In the beginning of the season, Jim Cabrera was trying to have Maya play more of the center, holding offensive player, and you see now the strength that she has is using the speed and being able to beat players on the flank, and it's really excelled, and you see that she's been able to contribute on the stat sheet more.
Hayes, a New Jersey native, went to Penn State for college, was an all Big Ten player. This is cut out by Kutschel, taken along by Nick. Schmidt to the outside. Caitlin Ford finds Ocampo, who is offside. And maybe the biggest surprise in the front 3, we knew Nadia Nadim would be called up for Denmark. That was expected. It's that Kelly O'Hara did not get called up for the U.S. women's national team. And one would think there's a little added fire in her tonight to try and put up some stats, knowing she didn't get picked for the friendly on Wednesday.
I know when the announcement came out, I think it was almost immediate, the feedback on social media of how did Kelly not get selected. But you see with Sky Blue FC, at least, she's going to try to finish the season strong. And on Saturday, after the team had been officially eliminated, she still tweeted out that she loves this team and wouldn't want to be here anywhere else. So for her, it is nice to finally have one last game to play with this squad.
Schmidt for Hayes, onside again. To the middle, Ocampo, and it's touched away. Kicked along further by Kyle and cleared. Hayes again sprung and again can't get a shot on goal. McCarty has her pocket picked. O'Hara. Too strong for Nick, and now Levin racing back. Nearly taken by Ocampo too, but eventually cleared away. Marissa Diggs called into service early, and she is not typically the starter back there. This is just her 11th start of the 24-game campaign.
And other attire of your favorite club. Visit nwslshop.com.
Caitlin Ford has been the focal point thus far on the right wing for Sky Blue FC. The fullback has worked her way up, although Nick has the ball here. Nearly played through. Romero. Back for Henninger.
Yeah, that ball there just not at the angle that she wanted it. Instead went pretty much right to Romero. You talk about Caitlin Ford all season long and even last year too. She's been a staple on that right flank, and one of the reasons why she is such a dangerous player is because she has the speed and the skill to work her way up the flank and get into the attack.
Romero now sends the cross, and Lloyden gobbles it up. No problem for her. 6th minute, no score. This is a Houston club coming off a 1-0 defeat to Boston. Mewis, the only goal of that game, came late in the second half, and it dropped Houston into last place in the table. This is played through. O'Hara is onside as Ocampo running down the middle. Sends the cross. It's deflected off O'Hara, and a corner coming up according to the far side official.
I think on that play there, O'Hara was already out of bounds when it hit off of her. So there is the first corner kick of the game going to Sky Blue FC.
So the fans begin stomping on the bleachers. Katie Friels will take this corner kick. Goodson lines up between the pipes on the goal line. The cross over her and out for a goal kick. Coco Goodson with another inch or two could have knotted that home.
And there too, you just needed a player on that back post for Sky Blue FC as it went all the way through, but nobody there to knock it home. We saw in the last matchup between these two squads, that's how Berger was able to get the goal. We saw back and forth, just Sky Blue not able to clear out of a set piece like that, and eventually Berger heading it into the net to score the lone goal of that match. And of course, Nadia Nadim became the 5th player to have a hat trick in the NWSL with a 3-1 win.
Well, of course, Nadim, the only player to really have a lot of luck against Houston for Sky Blue. McCarty. Outside, oh high. Gets around Levin. The cross is right into the waiting mitts of Jillian Lloyden.
Yeah, Nadim right now is the only Sky Blue FC player to ever score against Houston's franchise. The first time they played each other, was a 3-0 win in favor of the Houston Dash. McCarty getting a brace in that game.
Rower, Kelly.
Launched into the area, kicked by Kutschel, taken by Levin. And Levin, the clearance to Nick.
Let's get out. Come on, Monty. Good, Monica.
Ingen's ball kicked away. Right back to her head, though. Grabbed now by Diggs. 2nd round, 11th overall pick in the most recent draft.
Samba 360 brings donated soccer equipment to poor and disadvantaged children by collecting new and used gear for distribution nationally.
A reminder that Sky Blue FC Soccer presented by Meridian Health. Another throw coming up for Houston. Berger leaves it off. Oh, high. Lloyden, the clearance, and falls for Ocampo. Launches it up the right side, no high, was correctly ruled offside.
Well, in that play, Hayes, you saw, went to take the touch, and the Houston backline realized it, stepped ahead, caught Hayes offsides as Ocampo wasn't able to get the initial ball to the flank quick enough.
Oh, and you and I both nodded our heads in agreement as soon as that flag went up. I think we both knew from where we were standing, and certainly this year officials have taken a bit of flack as the year has gone along, but have improved, and certainly as you get into year 2 and now year 3 coming along for the NWSL, the officiating will only get better. Henninger walks it forward into the 10th minute with no score between a Sky Blue team who's locked into 6th in the NWSL standings and a Houston team trying to get out of the cellar in the season's final match.
Well, Houston right now, they've lost 5 straight. They're winless for the last 7 games. And for them, you would love to end the season on a high note in your inaugural season. And Sky Blue FC on the flip side, trying to end with the win streak going, get the 5 games, and extending it and tying their franchise record.
Well, and we saw it on the Dash website. They talked about a culture-building year, a year in which they are a year behind everybody else in the NWSL. A handball near the box, although it's not called getting up. McFarland. Oh, high. Dances in, sends the low cross, and it's deflected away by Nick and out to O'Hara. But how much do you put into the idea of a culture-building year in your first year in the league? How important is that to year 2?
Well, for them, they want to try to, they really do have to start from the ground up, and even though they are new, they've had really good attendance numbers compared to the rest of the league. And they can just build on it. And you look at the squad overall, they're very young. Coach Waldrum has said it himself, they're a young team. And with all the minutes that these really young players have gotten, they're going to be able to carry that over into next season. And he kind of joked that when you're in college, you can get away with some mistakes. But in this league, mistakes cost you, and you get punished for it.
Get on, Maya. Monty, get on side.
And they've got a lot of young players on their squad, like you mentioned. A lot of the veteran players didn't come in until later in the year. Klingenberg out in this game. She didn't come till midway through the season. Same with Ingen, as they both played overseas to start the year. And, well, that does make a big impact when you look back on the year that was. How many of those games could you have played a little bit better, maybe gotten a couple more points? Tough to say in hindsight, though.
Again, I think both teams have that same issue where Sky Blue FC, they had a couple of those ties go to wins, they would be in playoffs right now where, you know, they would have been having a more comfortable feeling going into the final stretch of the season of qualifying. And this team also has a lot of young players, and head coach Jim Gabera mentioned that earlier on the season, that just losing your focus, not being able to maintain it for a full 90 minutes has cost them a lot of those games.
Ohai cuts in. Ohai, the cross is deflected away. Nearly able to get a touch to it, but Toulouse is denied. Now for Ocampo, and now Hayes. Schmidt plays for O'Hara. Flag stays down. O'Hara the cross, and it's just held off the goal line. It was nearly a shot on Henninger, and that would have been on goal if she hadn't picked that out of the air as she fell back toward the goal.
And on that, too, if O'Hara had turned her hips a little bit more, it could have been a great feed to either Ocampo and Hayes running in the box, but Sophie Schmidt having the game awareness to pick her head up and play that beautiful ball out to O'Hara, who was able to stay on sides on that play. That's what Sky Blue FC needs to continue to do and get those feeds in the box that allow the players coming in to put it in the back of the net.
Nick the steal, keeping it away from Kalia Ohai.
High money, high money.
4 goals for her on the season, Ohai, and she's been dangerous so far tonight.
Move it quicker.
And even in the matchup against Boston, Ohai had a couple of very close opportunities. I believe she hit the post at one point, and she's one of those young players where you look at that and say, you're going to get better, and she's going to be very dangerous next year for sure. One of the players that you still have to look out for her now, but I can only see her getting better and better as she trains in the offseason.
Here's Ocampo from 11. The cross is deflected by Diggs. It's another corner for Sky Blue. They're second of the game, and again, they seem to be picking on Romero at the right back position.
Pounding feet will send it home.
Katie Friels. This one a little lower, a little further away from the goal line. She gets the recovery, sends it across, and falls for O'Hara.
Okay, you want to connect me now? You good?
O'Hara works in, deflected, held in, and Oaks able to bring it back the other way.
It's a great defensive stop by Oaks, not allowing Sky Blue FC to get another corner, and now here they are on the counterattack.
Oh, high, an excellent first touch. Goes in on Levin, the cross off the chest of Levin, and she kicks it away.
Good cover, Kimmy.
Oh, high looked like she was off to the races.
Ojai is so explosive. Again, one of the reasons why she is so dangerous when you give her that space. But Cammie Levin doing a great job of being able to not let the ball hit her hands, using her body to deflect it and get it out.
And now Schmidt the steal. And now the through ball, and Henninger, well outside her 18, there to collect it. Romero. Another pass now for Berger. Her cross picked out of the air by Lloyden.
Come on, Caitlin, forward.
You can see the team there yelling at, or not yelling, but directing Monica to hold back a little bit more and not kind of waste that energy putting it up, hold back and let the team regroup. And now you can see the formation of trying to just force the mistake and bring it into the middle where they have numbers up.
Tactical yelling as it may be. Taken here by O'Hara. Sky Blue doing a great job of getting numbers early in this game. Through for O'Hara. She's tagged but holds on. O'Hara off the foot of Henninger, and it'll be a corner kick.
Great work in between, giving the space open for Kelly O'Hara, but on that play, there's Sophie Schmidt. Again, another beautiful ball to Kelly O'Hara, being able to break through, but on the 1v1, Henninger making the save and keeping it scoreless here at Yurcak Field.
And you saw O'Hara get just kind of touched on the back, a little tag you're it kind of moment, and still was able to keep her composure and put a shot on goal, leading to this Friel's corner kick. Nearly headed, touchdown, O'Hara. Her cross is deflected away, and now kicked further by Ojai. Berger out to the races, but taken. Ford, a long distance try that's deflected, and boy, McFarland looks worse for the wear.
That ball had a lot of power behind it, and you can hear the thud off the deflection. But Caitlin Ford, again, we've seen her throughout the season trying to get into the attack. Even against Washington, she had a couple breakthroughs where she went on to goal, but hasn't been able to put it in.
Schmidt, another perfect service. The rebound is put in. Initially, it was Ocampo, and it's put in on the rebound.
Lindsay Cutshall hanging a little bit up from that corner kick, getting into the attack with that height. But as you said, Monica Ocampo got the first knock. Lindsay Cutshall right there to put it in, leave her third goal of the season. And there's the feed into the box. Ocampo one-time touch. Lindsay Cutshall following up. Henninger trying to get the hand on it. But now it's 1-0 in Sky Blue FC's favor.
The opening goal of the game in the 18th minute. Cutshall's third of the year.
It's always nice when you see defenders being able to put one into the, or put one on the board for Sky Blue FC, and that's what you're told as an attack. Always follow the net, crash the net. You never know what's going to happen.
Hayes crashing the net this time. Sends the low cross. Ocampo parries it through. The turn, Friels. Never got the shot off. O'Hara the cross, taken by Ocampo, and she can't get a shot off either. And Toulouse clears it away.
Ocampo just not able to get that first touch to keep the ball on the ground, instead popping it up. And she does have a bit of a height disadvantage, so on that play able to be cleared out by Houston's back line. But Katie Friels there showing a lot of fancy footwork, trying to cut around, just not able to get enough space for herself to take a shot.
McCarty through the middle for Berger. And Ford cuts her away.
Monica Ocampo.
Well, you mentioned Ocampo getting her scoring touch back. She was able to get the assist on that one as she nearly put it home on the first try. Cutshall with the goal. She has a game winner this year. This could be her second if the score were to hold, although a lot of time left in this one. McCarty. Push now, and the sliding challenge by Nick gets it away.
Clean tackle by Nick, but unfortunately rolling over the end line rather than the sideline. So Houston now will have a corner kick. Sky Blue FC needs to make sure that they continue to play the way that they are. Excuse me for mumbling there for a sec, but Sky Blue FC needs to make sure they don't concede a goal, try to end on a high note again. And again, you say that there is the first overall draft pick on the line, but I think this game is more for pride, trying to end the season with a win.
Here's Stephanie Oakes on the corner kick. Touched away by Kutchel. And it falls for O'Hara. Tries to switch the field of play and falls a bit short.
Pressure, Monty, unlucky.
The NWSL returns to ESPN2 this weekend. 2 games on the schedule, both, of course, of the playoff variety. Berger tried to hold it in. Goal kick coming up. It's Portland and FC Kansas City. 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. And an 11 p.m. start Eastern time, Washington Spirit visits Seattle Reign FC in the 1-4 matchup.
When you look at the matchups, Portland and FC Kansas City, the only 2 teams to return to the NWSL playoffs from last year. So you look at that and say there will be one team from last year's playoffs that will make it to the final. Now for Portland, it's are they able to come back and defend their title? They were able to get into the playoffs after beating Seattle's second loss of the season, Alex Morgan getting the game winner there. In the other game, Washington-Seattle, both teams are coming into that matchup off a loss.
So a pair of interesting matchups, and luckily the NWSL getting the exposure of ESPN2. And while some of the numbers look pretty good on YouTube, wait till you see them on ESPN2. The first game the NWSL had on the mothership was 177,000 viewers.
And with that number too, that's more than any of the Fox soccer games that were last year. Fox being the network to broadcast the NWSL. Blew him out of the water with that first ESPN2 game.
Ocampo from Hayes. Back for Nick. Low ball for O'Hara. Chips it to the middle, and it's knocked down and brought further by Kyle.
And what's great, too, is that their NWSL is also getting coverage throughout ESPN, not just having the game broadcast. You look at Graham Hayes' most latest article featuring Nadia Nadim telling her amazing backstory. And if you haven't already checked it out, it's a must-read, in my opinion.
Disappointing that Sky Blue only gets to see her in their kit for, 6 games this year, 5 starts. 7 goals, though, 3 assists.
7 goals in 5.5 games, if you want to look at it that way. Her debut coming July 6th here at Yurcak Field, getting subbed in the second half in the 5-0 loss against FC Kansas City. But you look at every game she started, she contributed at least 1 point a game, whether it was a goal and an assist. And not only did she bring that on the stat sheet to the team, just her energy just inspired this whole Sky Blue FC squad to love the game and that believe in themselves, really. It's to say we are a good team, and look at this player who just loves to be here, loves to play, and it's just infectious.
Is that similar to what Monica Ocampo brought last year, where she came in mid-season and found a way to lead the team in scoring or get near the top there?
I think it's a little different in that Monica Ocampo was with the squad the whole year versus Nadia coming in on loan, but she did have that similar spark. But with this season, Monica Ocampo, I think teams started figuring out how to defend her. But with Nadia, she was new, and teams really, the only team that was able to shut her down in regards to having a Sky Blue FC loss is FC Kansas City. And in that matchup, the 2-1 loss away, Nadia barely got the ball because Kansas City knew when she did have the ball, she was very dangerous.
Speaking of dangerous, Caitlin Ford tries to sneak a ball through. Ocampo latches back on. Her cross is right at Henninger. We mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. Erin McLeod had a couple of injury issues as the season went along, Canada's starting goalkeeper. And she is out here. This is a dangerous spot, but one which Levin can't commit to. Never quite got the shot off, although we've seen her shoot from there a few times this year with varied levels of success.
On that play, she was trying to pass it off to Monica Ocampo, but instead it got intercepted by the dash back line, being able to read that. again, Levin does have the power to shoot from 20, 25, 30 yards out. It's just a matter of if she will be able to have the confidence to do so.
Kyle turns down Oaks, instead goes up the right flank. And Kutschel leaves it back for Lloyden. Strong header there from Diggs is taken back by Houston. McCarty feeds Toulouse to the middle of the field. Oaks has it knocked away. Make it Ohai who is up there. And it's taken back by Houston. Another ball left up the right wing. Berger loses the race initially, kicks it away from Levin, who recovers and brings it back forward.
Lindsay Kutschel was the Sky Blue FC defender on that play to have the great tackle to preventing Ohai from getting a shot off. And it's just kind of funny that when you said Oaks, it went right to her anyway, so you were just a little bit ahead of yourself.
Yes, I was. When you look at Lindsay Kutschel, and certainly Maya Hayes might be in that conversation, there are a few players you could look at and maybe bestow this imaginary award on, but most improved player, you look at what Kutschel's done in the second half of this season, she could be very well deserving of such an award for this Sky Blue team.
With Kutschel, a lot of it was just the injuries that she had, whether it was something nagging her, bothering her, preventing her from playing a full 90 minutes, not being match ready. And I think part of it was she's now able to play the full 90 minutes and be able to be confident in her ability to say, you know, I'm not going to go into this tackle and re-injure myself. I'm going to be fine. And you just see it's just built throughout the year. So she could be a good candidate for one of the most improved players here on Sky Blue FC.
A through ball for O'Hara. Touched away, taken by Ocampo. Now Kyle. And the dash do hold on.
Ocampo's first touch once again just got away from her to allow the dash to regain possession, but Oaks was the one that was able to cut off that pass, where if it had went to O'Hara, it would have seen another potential 1v1 situation with Henninger.
And we're going to have our first sub coming up momentarily. That's Kendall Johnson, who just handed her card to the official. Surprisingly early, but in a game like this near the end of the season, if a player's got a knock and wants to try and get some time in, this may be the way to do it. And off comes O'Hara.
So Kelly O'Hara will end her 2014 season with Sky Blue FC in the 28th minute. Kendall Johnson coming in, and you see that she's going to draw back into that left back role, and Cami Levin's going to be pushing up more into the attack.
Here's a cross. It's mishandled by Lloyden, and Ohai continued to chase till Lloyden picked it up. When you look at Kelly O'Hara this year, she did find her scoring touch. She moved from a defensive role to an offensive role as the year went along, and 7 goals, that's a pretty major contribution that she made as the year went along.
Well, if you want to look at improved in scoring, that'd be Kelly O'Hara, would win that award last year. Did not have a single goal, only had 3 assists this year, leading the team with 7 goals and also getting 5 assists this season.
McCarty in on Johnson and poked away and onto the waiting foot of Nick. McCarty for Berger. Kutschel under pressure, but she'll take it herself. O'Hara got her first NWSL Player of the Week all the way back in May. Now 5 times that a player has been named Player of the Week from the Sky Blue organization in the NWSL's second season. Nadia Nadim picking up the honor from this past week.
Not too far, Kendall.
Brought ahead by McCarty, muscled off the ball, taken by Schmidt, and she's tackled down a foul.
On that week, Kelly O'Hara got it. She had one of the goals in the Washington match and then had the game winner against Portland, which at the time had gave Sky Blue FC their second win of the year. And with Nadia Nadim, she, I think, got most known with that game winner in the 89th minute, 3-2, to keep Sky Blue FC's playoffs alive going into Saturday's matchups.
Flag is up for offside. So everybody moves back. If you're watching in Houston, and from what we've heard, a lot of Houston fans frequent these streams, which is impressive in year one in the league for the Dash fans. But you may be wondering where some of your players are here tonight, as Berger sends the long cross to the back post and grabbed by Lloyden. Klingenberg with the U.S. women's national team. Edwards out on loan. O'Holly, her brother, getting married. Orientation for Jackson and Masser with a injury, a sports hernia-related injury that she sits out. That's 5 starters right there.
It's always difficult when you see your numbers kind of deplete as the end of the season approaches. But for Houston right now, you did see they're starting to get more into the attack or put some pressure on Jill Lloyd and feeding balls into the box. It's just a matter of getting someone inside the box to get a touch on it or to put more pressure on Lloyden.
Friel's forced to the ground. Oaks finds O'High, although an interception here for Sky Blue. It's a flock of geese make an appearance over the playing field. Nick across for Schmidt. Another cross deflected away by Romero. Here's McCarty. That was a swift move. Another cutback. Berger for Oaks. Oaks takes the misplayed pass upfield. Her cross floats over the goal and out for a goal kick.
Yeah, on that cross, just as she took a touch to get around Johnson, just a little too much, not able to get her hips around enough to play it more in the inside. But we saw McCarty there having a couple nice cuts to be able to create space for herself and maintain possession for the Dash.
Soccer Club, the New Jersey Wildcats of the W League, Staten Island United,
Jill Lloyden kicks it upfield. If you were here for pregame, you know she was given a check by Tony Novo, the general manager of the club, for her foundation. Tremendous work that she does off the field only adds to what she does on the field.
Sky Blue FC hosted a viewing party last Wednesday for the Western New York Flash game at Darby Road Pub in Scotch Plains, and they were generous enough to have part of the earnings for that evening be donated to the Jillian Lloyden Foundation. And they also had a featured menu item called the Jill Lloyden Steak in honor of her playing at Villanova. They thought it was a nice little tie-in. They had a couple other Sky Blue FC specials like a burger. They had a couple themed drinks. And for the fans there, it was a lot of fun, and you knew you were donating to a good cause. And she has done some tremendous work with that foundation. We saw on July 20th the Every Voice Counts campaign initiated, and we saw just throughout the league all the support received. And there's a video on Sky Blue FC's YouTube account that really talks about the impact from that night.
And that may be the most impressive thing. It wasn't just here at Yurcak Field that we saw the impact of the Jillian Lloyden Foundation night, but really the entire league bought into it, and it made it a rousing success. Here it is for Berger. Her shot is deflected away. McCarty for the rebound, and it's wide left of the net. For the first time, a big challenge for Jillian Lloyden, and she comes up big.
Great diving save by Jill Lloyden with the rebound, though. McCarty on that situation had the net. All she had to do is pass it in, just misses wide, though, as it's still 1-0 in this match. That was the best opportunity for Houston right now to equalize.
Nina Berger, 4 goals on the year. It's tied for best on the club and nearly her 5th, but Jill Lloyden with a key diving save there in the 34th minute.
So at the end of the Washington game too, she had a couple of big saves. One, an added time where she dove across and was able to deflect it. Another one that went across the box where she was able to get just enough on it to not allow Lisa Devanna to poke it into the net. So Jill Lloyden, as of late, has really turned it up and is well deserving of the starting role for Sky Blue FC right now.
Good run, Katie. Feet.
Dummy through by both players, and it's a throw coming up for Houston. Our phenomenal cameraman down on the field helping to give that ball to Oaks. Coming back for Kutchel, now Schmidt. Her pass off target. And while Sophie Schmidt doesn't have the goals this year that she did last year, maybe her biggest impact on the offensive end of the game is her service from the back. She's very strong at hitting the target more often than not.
Sophie Schmidt is one of those players where the stat sheet may not reflect how much of an impact she has on this team. You see she's very good at getting the quick transition from defense to offense. She's always seems to be in the right spot at the right time, and just her presence on the field is one that can't be beat.
Hayes, this is impressive. Tackle just outside the box. Corner kick coming up for Sky Blue FC. Into the 36th minute, 1-0 Sky Blue. Lindsay Kutchel, the go-ahead goal for the home side tonight. Earlier this year, we saw a lot of Nanasi Kidu taking these corners. Katie Friel has Friels has stepped in and taken a lot of the corners since she's left the starting lineup. Her service. Kutchel rises up. It's headed out. Taken by O'High. And kick past Hayes. And into the Sky Blue bench.
When that far corner, when you're looking at this side of the field, if you're going on your screen on the left side, you always want to have more of a left-footed player, hence Kidu, why she would take it to have that in-swinging kick. We've seen on this field actually Lauren Holiday have an Olympico goal with that, but since Kidu has been out, Friels is really the free kick specialist within 25 yards of the net.
Oaks committed that foul. Hard push in the back. Here's Kendall Johnson, who's come off the bench in this game, the first of 3 subs for Sky Blue. Oaks out to midfield where it's taken by Ford. Johnson back for Leutenberger giving chase. She's got the best shot tonight for Houston, and it's blasted into the stands where one fan jumps out of the way.
Sky Blue wishes to recognize our regular web broadcast hosts, Mike and Danielle, who have brought you the play-by-play and inside scoop on Sky Blue.
There's a good chance nobody knows that we're up here, but they are announcing our names, and more importantly, we just want to thank the people who spent all season listening to us here on the NWSL Soccer YouTube channel. There have been thousands of people who tune in every game, and really it's just our pleasure to bring top-flight women's soccer to you at home if you aren't able to make it out to a game.
And I think it's great that the NWSL took the initiative to put all the games live on YouTube to allow fans from around the world to watch some of their favorite players right on the computer.
Well, and for those who are from outside the United States, obviously there have been some talks about international feeds and how ESPN would handle that, and while there wasn't, I guess, the result that many were looking for, we really do appreciate that you spent so many games with us, so many nights watching these teams battle it out in what is a highly competitive table for the second consecutive year. We look forward to having you back next year and hopefully an answer to trying to get you those playoff games that a lot of people may not be able to see. It's kicked long over the head of McFarland and in toward the bench.
Great tackle there by Johnson. Once again, shutting down Ojai, not allowing her to get across into the box where she had at least 2, possibly 3 orange jerseys waiting.
Oaks not only takes the corners, also takes the long throws. Fires it in. Knotted along further, Lloyden grabs it. McCarty was right on the goal line and provided a bit of a challenge, but not enough for Lloyden, who, with a good distribution, sends it out wide right. Ocampo.
Come on, stay wide, stay on, stay on. Get it again, Coco.
Now Jill Lloyden. You look at this Houston squad, it seemed like things may go off the rails early for this team. Brittany Bach injured, a former Sky Blue player taken first in the expansion draft. Left an ACL tear. And a lot of people said she was the glue of that team as it was constructed, and to lose her would be a major loss for them. And while it was, they did recover quite a bit. And it was Becky Edwards who stepped in. One article said she was the glue that held the team together with Bach's injury. She was just signed to a new contract, was Edwards. This played through for Ocampo. Hayes streaks onto it, fires, and Henninger with a great save.
Maya Hayes just a little frustrated that she couldn't get that one in the back of the net, but that's what you need to do. Continue moving forward. Ball pops out right to her foot, but Henninger being able to dive down low and clean it up.
Maya Hayes with one of the most chance-filled performances of her rookie campaign. Hasn't resulted in a goal yet, but still about 50 minutes to figure that out. We're into the 41st minute, headed to the 42nd. A goal from Lindsay Kutschel, the difference between Houston and Sky Blue here in New Jersey tonight. A seasonably humid yet nice temperature game for the fans that came out in a game that was rescheduled. Houston and Sky Blue were meant to play in July, but was severe weathered out as it may be. Up the left wing for Houston, and Ford kicks it away.
I'm sure players are going to look back and hopefully laugh at that night, having a 4-hour delay, and Houston having a real rough night there, having their flight delayed as well. I know on social media they were kind of talking about that delay.
Here's the shot, and it's just touched away by Henninger. It was Levin who came up off the chest of Schmidt, and it is a corner coming up.
Beautiful diving save to keep this 1-0, but now they have to make sure that they can defend this set piece for Sky Blue FC.
The backup keeper has played a big role for Houston thus far tonight. Friels, headed by Nick, and it's hit right to the line. Johnson, not enough pace to put it by Henninger, who dives down and makes the stop.
Henninger again coming up big. He's already had quite a few saves at this point. I will let you know at the halftime how many exactly she's been tallied, but has really kept Houston in this game at this point.
The pass for Romero is hit out by Johnson. Dan Lauletta will join Danielle Diavanzo for the half. They'll talk about some things they liked this year, some things they didn't, some playoff races coming to their conclusion. The playoffs coming up here Saturday and Sunday, the first round. Into the box. Sent to the middle. Ford knocked off the ball by McCarty. Still loose. And the center official says it is a foul against Sky Blue.
Come on, focus, last couple minutes. Good.
Not that Ford doesn't commit a lot of fouls. It's
Well, I mean,
part of her game.
Caitlin Ford is a very aggressive player. Anybody who watches her will know that. She currently has 4 yellow cards, but at this point, though, getting another one won't really do anything as their season's over.
Outside, McFarland leaves it back in. Ojai fires off the post, and it spins out to the other side of the net. And left back to the top and cleared away.
Ojai's probably hating the post, the woodwork, anything at this point. Again, just an inch off to being able to equalize, but Ojai has continued to just be such a presence with the Houston Dash, and I think she's going to be a player to watch out for next season.
One of the cool things about this NWSL group is there's an injury down on the field and now they'll call out the medical staff to take a look, is some of the jerseys you see at these games, an Abby Wambach jersey here, an Alex Morgan jersey there. Some even sit right in front of the broadcast booth, and all those fans are a lot of fun to see come out and see some of the top players on the planet.
Well, that's what's great about the NWSL is that they bring these top national team players really right to your backyard in some cases for people who live in Piscataway, New Brunswick. Not that far of a journey to Rutgers University here, but you get to see the best players in the world right in front of you. And as a young player in the past, when I was growing up, that's what I love to see. And another thing about this league is how approachable these players are. You come to a game and you hang around afterwards, you're going to get autographs, you're going to have an opportunity to talk to the players, and that's what really helps grow this game.
So an injury down on the field as the clock continues to tick up. We're in the 45th minute with a 1-0 Sky Blue FC advantage. Lindsay Kutschel, the go-ahead goal.
Now Monica Ocampo still down on the field as Sophie Schmidt's coming over to check it out. Sophie Schmidt wearing the captain's armband this evening, replacing Christy Rampone. With this injury, you would assume that Janelle Foligno would be the most likely choice to come in for her, as we normally see Janelle sub in for Monica. As Coach Cabrera has said many times before, that Ocampo just isn't 90-minute match ready yet. And I think a lot of it has to do with the lack of size, where it takes a toll on your body when you're constantly trying to fight against these bigger players.
Well, Monica had a shot stopped right on the goal line, and then it was, of course, put in on the rebound by Kutschel. She comes off. Foligno has been warming up for the last couple of minutes, and she's working her way over to the officials' table. We are into first half stoppage time. I think I speak for all of us in saying I hope Monica is okay. You hate to see someone go down, especially right as the season comes to its conclusion. This is kicked towards the goal. It's poked over by Henninger. Oh, my. Goodson with the long-distance try.
Coco Goodson showing off the range that she has and the power to be able to hit a long strike, forcing the save. And, again, we see Monica Ocampo still sitting on the bench, and Janelle Foligno now coming up, and she'll be subbed in momentarily. And with Monica Ocampo, too, the World Cup qualifiers coming up for Mexico, we hope that she'll be okay and be able to compete for her national team.
Friel's cross is touched by Schmidt, taken by Hayes, outside for Levin. In first half stoppage, over the head of Goodson and right to Henninger. So Ocampo is done, O'Hara is done. O'Hara, of course, was a choice by Sky Blue, and Ocampo out to injury now.
Let him have it, Katie. Katie, let her have it. Stay on top of those two.
Sent long. Sky Blue down to 10 players at the moment due to the injury to Ocampo. Foligno still waiting to get in at the next stop. Nick controls. Johnson and Nick once again. Finds Friels. Foligno may not get in on this half. She may have to wait until after the halftime whistle.
Back in, Maya, last minute.
Brought ahead by Oaks. 6 dash into the attack. Ford forces the throw. The official still not looking at his watch. And now they do let Foligno in now.
At this point, Foligno may play a minute, maybe that, before the halftime whistle goes. And give credit to Caitlin Ford being able to stop Oaks. Oaks trying to pull a scissors move to get around, but Caitlin Ford using her body to force it out. But there is the long throw-in now coming up.
And Ocampo is walking off early before the rest of the team and is headed to the locker room. And there's the halftime whistle. Sky Blue FC takes a 1-0 lead in the first half. The ball served up by Schmidt, touched by Ocampo. The rebound came loose, and it was put home by Lindsay Kutschel, as she has potentially her second game winner of the year. Your thoughts on this one, Danielle, before we turn it over to you and Dan for the halftime report.
For Sky Blue FC, they seem to be able to continue carrying that momentum they've had off this incredible 4-game win streak, won 5 out of the last 6 if you look a little bit further back, and they just need to continue what they're doing. We see now with Kelly O'Hara out, who's been a huge player for this squad. We'll see how they're able to adjust now with also Monica Ocampo now coming out. And with Houston, they had a couple opportunities. The biggest one, McCarty, had the net, open net, really just not able to put it in, and then Ohio hitting the post. So Houston has had their opportunities, and for a team that is known for coming back in the second half and fighting until the very end, you'll just have to keep a lookout for them. They may be able to equalize this late in the game.
We continue our coverage of the NWSL's regular season finale after this short timeout at the half. Sky Blue FC 1, Houston Dash 0.
You get the look. You get the leash. You get out the door. You get sudden numbness and a severe headache. Signs of stroke. So you get help. You get to a Meridian emergency room. You get treatment found only in primary stroke centers to stop stroke in its tracks. You get better. And back to your best friends. Learn more at meridianneuroscience.com.
The Soccer for Success program is an innovative after-school program that uses soccer as a tool for social change, specifically to fight childhood obesity.
We're funding ongoing programming for these children after school hours. After school hours for children are the most dangerous time for children in this country. We're filling that gap with a positive program that has health benefits, social benefits, and it's just plain fun.
Hello and welcome to the Sky Blue FC halftime show presented by Meridian Health. Alongside Dan Loletta, I'm Danielle Diavanzo. Thank you for sticking with us here. So Dan, before we jump into this game, let's look at the U.S. national team game. Do you have an update for us?
I do. Megan Rapinoe scored in the 3rd minute, not watching the game, but she's apparently playing a new central midfield role at a give-and-go play and scored, so it's 1-0 U.S. at last check against Switzerland.
And Megan Rapinoe, showing off the versatility that she has as a player, has contributed when she can for Seattle. And they're still in first place, although they end the season on a low note, losing to the Portland Thorns FC 1-0 on Sunday.
They did. It's only their 2nd loss, so I think they can withstand that. They went the first 16 matches before they lost. Rapinoe's been great. She was hurt some earlier in the season, came right back in, scored a big goal for them right off the bench when she came back. And Seattle, heavy favorites going up against Washington on Sunday night, and then I believe they're the heavy favorites to win it all. But they've got to go out and perform. They'll be under the hammer really for the first time. They won their first 7, so they never really faced a pressure game specific to their season, and they'll face that Sunday night. So that's really the biggest concern about how they might respond.
And taking a step back for a moment to look at this matchup here tonight, the final NWSL regular season match, Sky Blue FC Houston. What are your thoughts from the first half?
Well, it's an excellent half for Sky Blue, other than I'm sure Jim Gabera is not happy with the scoreboard because it should be more than 1-0. Unlike some other times this season when Sky Blue maybe left some goals out there, I think this is mostly has to do with Bianca Henninger. All the shots that Sky Blue have taken have been on goal. Henninger has been very good. She even almost stopped the rebound that Cutshall put in off just a gorgeous ball from Schmidt into Ocampo, who unfortunately had to come off there at the end of the half. This is it'll be 5 in a row if Sky Blue wins, and it's not by accident. They have really turned the corner since that 2-week break in early July.
And for you, what has been the difference for Sky Blue FC since that break, besides, a big one being Nadia Nadim coming in?
Well, I think part of it was that they had 2 weeks to train together, so they got to get each other on the same page. Nadim was a big part of it, though, because Nadim is I think Nadim changed the way the team does things. I think she gave Maya Hayes confidence. I think she gave the midfield confidence. I think Christy Rampone's foot started to come around, and she started to play better, so that gave the back line confidence. I think Jill Lloyden has finally wrested away the starting goalkeeper job. Season ends today, so we'll see what happens. But I think all those things kind of came together. And early in the season, they were leaving points out there. They left points out there with the missed PK against Portland. Same thing against Boston. Those were both in the last 5 minutes. I think the Portland one was in stoppage time. And they stopped doing that, and they started, as they did in Western New York last Wednesday when they won late, they started collecting points late rather than leaving them out there. So it has been fun to see. It'll ultimately fall a few points short of a playoff spot, but it has been fun to see the transformation.
And for Sky Blue FC, if they do manage to hold the score and get the win tonight, if you're head coach Jim Gabera, how would you talk to your team afterwards, assessing the season as a whole?
Well, I would tell them that, I would say that he'll probably tell them that he's pretty proud of them for how they hung in there. Oftentimes you'll see teams kind of pack it in. I think last season a team like the Washington Spirit, who have done a great job coming back this season, but toward the end of last season, I know they had a couple of wins late, but they also had a lot of games last season where you could tell that part of them had checked out, and Sky Blue never checked out. And especially when you go back to that July 6th game, which was right before the break, they lost 5-0 to Kansas City. That's probably the most lopsided game I saw this season. I know there were more lopsided score lines, but I think that was the most dominant performance for one team over the other, and that pretty much is what sealed the deal that they were not going to the playoffs. They came back after that 2-week break, and they were a different team, and I think that's a credit to Jim and the players that they did that rather than take that 2 weeks, sit on it, feel sorry for themselves, and come out and just mail in the rest of the year.
And in that game, too, that was the most goals conceded by Sky Blue FC throughout their NWSL season.
Nadeem's first game, too, came on at half. I think it was 4-0 at halftime. Nadeem came on, and we looked at it, and we said, you know what, she looks like she's got a lot of energy. She looks like she's doing good things, but it's hard to tell because it's 4-0. Turned out to be 5-0, but it was the real deal. She came in. It was a short stay for now, but she left her mark, didn't she?
I think fans around the league, she took the league by storm, really.
She did.
And the piece from Graham Hayes for ESPN, I think, really helped show what type of player and person off the field Nadeem has, and just that energy, as you mentioned, I think really helped inspire Sky Blue FC to turn their season around, turn the way they see themselves as a team, and really it's taken its form on the field.
And Kelly O'Hara, who came off early, I'm not sure if that was because they was trying to get more players minutes or if something happened to her, but O'Hara looks like a totally different person on the field now since Nadeem started playing with her. They had that instant connection. Sometimes you put two players together, they connect instantly. That seems like that happened with Nadeem and O'Hara, and like it did carry over a little bit after Nadeem left, but again, O'Hara's season's now over.
And with that, too, I think you throw Maya Hayes in that mix, where that
Definitely.
offensive line was just a whole new team. Now, looking over at Houston a little bit, for them, down 1-0 at the half. They had a couple opportunities where they could have equalized. McCarty having the big miss one, and then Ojai hitting the post. So for Houston, what adjustments did they need to make to try to equalize or possibly get a win in this match?
Well, I think Houston just needs to get the ball more often and not allow Sky Blue. They're missing Becky Edwards. She's their defensive central midfielder who played every minute but left to go on her loan deal to Sweden, so she's not here for this one. I think they're missing her back there. They need to get the ball away from Sky Blue before it's in the box, before Hayes and Ocampo, who's out now, but before the forwards can have their say on it in the 6-yard box, and they need to start their counter that way. They did get a couple of opportunities when they did do that, and they caught Sky Blue's defense pinched forward, and they got some counterattacks. And Kalia Ojai, the number 2 pick in the draft, she somewhat similar to Maya Hayes. Hayes had a slow start. Ojai was hurt start of the season. She got hurt in their first game, was slow to come around, but she's one of the most improved rookies this season. And as you can see, she can be explosive, and she can score some goals, and she'll be a force on this team for a couple of years.
I think I sounded like a broken record a little bit earlier on the broadcast, where I think she's going to be one of those key players you're going to have to watch out for next season.
Absolutely. I thought she started the season below expectations, and now she's risen to where maybe she's above expectations.
And looking her throughout the last couple games, a couple times she hits the post just an inch off, and you get that slight adjustment, and then you're putting more in the goal.
And she has that little burst of speed where she can have that. Maybe she can't outrun other, the defenders for the length of the field, but she has that little quick burst where she can make a touch, get by somebody, and then set herself up where she can finish. So that's been fun to watch in the last month or so.
And looking at the NWSL, they just announced the NWSL award voting today. So for you, who would you say for rookies, since we are talking about the rookies, who would be your rookie of the year right now?
I like Julie Johnston in Chicago. She didn't do anything too flashy, but what she did was she played important roles for that team. Right off the bat, she was playing central defense. She got moved up into a defensive midfield role, which most people believe is her future, probably not only with the Red Stars, but with the U.S. national team, and I think she handled that very well for the Red Stars. Ojai is another candidate. Jasmine Reeves had the hat trick and wound up with a bunch of goals. It's a good year for rookies, but I'd go with Johnston on top.
Okay. And
Johnson, sorry.
Johnston. I think people figured out what you meant. But looking at the MVP now, that's always the big topic. Last year, you had Lauren Holiday. Who would you be your MVP this year?
Well, it'll be Kim Little in Seattle. Best team, best player. And she, people looked early in the season that she had whatever number of goals she had, and a lot of them were from the spot, but she also helped create a lot of those situations. She also was converting them, which was a problem somewhere throughout the league, but really she's been the best player. Her touches are fantastic. She dictates that offense. She plays in the midfield. She can move up top as she's done and find goals up top. I think I took a little flack mid-season when I said maybe Amy Rodriguez was ahead of Kim Little in the MVP voting, but I didn't think Rodriguez had a great second half. Best player, best team. I think it's easy for Kim Little to be MVP.
And I think that's really what happens with the MVP race. You look at Kim Little, she finished the season strong while you saw Rodriguez kind of falter out a little bit. But do you believe that we may see, well, I should say, it won't look like we'll have a sweep of one team for all the awards like we saw last year?
I don't think so, but especially, well, Seattle didn't really play any rookies, so that really negates that. I think Laura Harvey probably will win Coach of the Year. I probably will vote for Mark Parsons because I think he had more to do. I mean, look, Harvey took a team that finished toward the bottom and they won 16 out of 24 games and ran away with the league. Her personnel was a little better. I thought Mark Parsons had more work to do in terms of turning around the mentality of his team, and he got his team in, and they'll meet up in the playoffs Sunday night, so I've got Mark Parsons Coach of the Year, but I think Laura Harvey will wind up with the award.
Well, part of it, too, you look at Seattle, they did have that second half surge where there were talks, can they make the playoffs, similar to Sky Blue FC's story this season where, they keep fighting, they keep winning, can they get
difference being it stalled out a few weeks earlier and they wound up losing their last 4 or 5 or something like that. But they did have that little push right after Rapinoe got there, as a matter of fact, and they won some games, and Rapinoe was making an impact, and Solo was back and playing a little bit better, but it wasn't to be for them last season.
And looking overall at the NWSL, to kind of sum up, for you, this has been 2 seasons now with the NWSL. What would you like to see maybe improve for next year, or what things you may want to keep?
Well, I know we're short on time, but for improvements, the refereeing has to get better. I don't like to criticize every call as it happens because that can be too nitpicky, but there's got to be improvements in the refereeing. There are ways they can work with the referees in the offseason. I think we need to see that. I think the league needs to take advantage of the World Cup bounce. There will be a World Cup bounce. There was a World Cup bounce in WPS, but that league had 9 out of 10 nails in the coffin by that point. There will be a World Cup bounce. League needs to take advantage of that. And the last thing, league needs to be, and the teams need to be more forthcoming with information. You put information out there, even if it's not a pat yourself on the back happy story, it generates discussion. There is a community out there that wants to hear about these players, good or bad. Get the information out there and let people digest it and see if you can create some bigger and better fans by doing that.
For Dan Loletta, I'm Danielle Divanzo. Dan, thank you so much throughout this whole season for always joining us on the broadcast. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
When we come back from second half, action will return. Sky Blue FC currently holds a 1-0 lead. We'll see if they will be able to get the win in their final home match. We'll be right back.
Sky Blue partner clubs enjoy special pricing, player escort, and ball kid duties. Access to professional players.
You get the look. You get the leash. You get out the door. You get sudden numbness and a severe headache, signs of stroke. So you get help. You get to a Meridian emergency room. You get treatment found only in primary stroke centers to stop stroke in its tracks. You get better. And back to your best friends. Learn more at meridianneuroscience.com.
The Soccer for Success program is an innovative after-school program that uses soccer as a tool for social change, specifically to fight childhood obesity.
We're funding ongoing programming for these children after school hours. After school hours for children are the most dangerous time for children in this country. We're filling that gap with a positive program that has health benefits, social benefits, and it's just plain fun.
Underway in the second half of play. Mike Watts with Danielle Diavanzo. Thanks for checking back in for the second half. And Sky Blue with a 1-0 lead, and certainly Danielle and Dan were able to break that down for you. And of course, before we go any further, we should thank Dan and Tom Kolker and also Glenn Crooks, who joined us throughout the season to help us break down the action on the field. Right now, Houston is defending in the goal to our right. Sky Blue will defend on our left.
Looks like a second half substitute. McLeod is now in goal, and she will get her minutes now into the final game in the second half. I'm not sure if this, as of right now, if there are any other substitutes on the field for Houston for the second half.
Well, we did hear that potentially a goalkeeper could work into the field. At this point, doesn't look like it'll be the goalkeeper that's currently between the pipes as it's shot onto the top of the net. It'll be a goal kick coming up. I think we expected McLeod to start this game, and we're a little surprised. We even went to go check the roster, make sure it wasn't a typo that we got, but McLeod now in goal here for the second half.
We give a lot of credit to Henninger. She had a lot of great saves. I count at least 4 off the top of my head that really helped keep this game only a 1-0 deficit for the Houston side, as she is now ending her 2014 NWSL season.
So Sky Blue attacking left to right on your computer screen for the rest of the ball game tonight. Nick leaves it for Jill Lloyden. And a bad turnover. This is McCarty. McCarty shoots, and it's knocked down by Lloyden. Her second tremendous save of the game, and Ford brings it along further.
Lloyden once again coming up big. We've seen the second half stretch. She's really had many key saves. Again, got her 3rd clean sheet of the season against Washington on Saturday. Right now, if the score stands as is, she will get her 4th of the year. Jill Lloyden, just right place, right time, and I think you see, as throughout the season, more in the beginning she would hang back a little bit more. Now you see her coming way off her line, attacking the ball. I know a lot of the Washington media members kept mentioning how she kept coming out of the box, and she had a couple of big saves because of the fact that she was able to just go all in and clear it out.
Sent in by Ingen. Knocked away by Schmidt. And now carried by 11 for Ford.
Back to her. Back to her. Other way. Good, Ash.
Johnson for Hayes. Tried a cheeky pass back to Johnson, but taken by McCarty, who streaks upfield.
Keep going, Maya. Goal side. Come on, Maya.
Leaves it off, the extra pass. Touched Lloyden, running out. Leaves it be. Rolls out. Goal kick.
Yeah, that play there fell apart due to Maya Hayes trying to do the heeled back pass rather than maybe looking for a different outlet. But you can give credit to the Sky Blue FC backline being able to track back, not allowing Ojai to get a clean shot off, and Jill Lloyden being in the right place to make sure to shield it out for the goal kick.
Slid away. Nice play by McFarland. The throw coming up, it was last touched by Sky Blue. McCarty tried to loft it over the top. Nick.
Nice Croy move from Nick there to be able to give it to Ford now. He's making her way up the right side.
Go ahead, keep wide, keep wide, keep wide, keep wide.
Levin. And out for a corner kick for Sky Blue, so everybody comes forward. Into the 50th minute, it's a 1-0 lead for Sky Blue FC. Lindsay Kutschel, so far the lone goal of the game.
Yes, into those knees.
Freels the cross. Knocked away. Here's the shot. Schmidt got under it.
Ball, Katie.
Puts it over the net.
Yeah, Schmidt on that play, I think she just mistimed that shot as it deflected off the ground and just getting too much underneath it. A great ball by Fields, and you just want to see Sky Blue FC continue to work it down there and finally just put something in off of the corner kick.
And I should note, I just got handed a note here in the booth. I apparently, and I haven't looked back yet, but I absolutely see where the mistake would be made. I misspoke earlier when talking about the Jillian Lloyden Foundation, and my apologies to those who were offended by my comments as this ball is kicked to the front of the net and booted away. Certainly not how I meant to phrase things, as it does tremendous work. Here's another cross that just goes wide left of the cage as Jillian Lloyden works in the goal to our left here, but my apologies, certainly didn't mean it the way it came out. In truth, both teams that were here the night of the Jillian Lloyden Foundation Day, not only here but around the league, made it a phenomenal success, as well as the organized dinner put together here for the Western New York Watch Party. And together, both have provided a nice boost in the, certainly the knowledge about the foundation among the fan base, which is a positive. So certainly a great cause, and I'm sorry if I misspoke when I described it earlier. So it's brought ahead by McFarland for the dash.
Going back on that, a chance that Houston had, that was Caitlin Ford who was able to clear it off that back post, not allowing the Houston dash to be able to get a solid shot off. And again, I had a chance to speak to Jill about it, and she was telling me how she reached out to one representative for each team, asking them about taking part in the Every Voice Counts campaign, and immediately every team was like, yeah, I'm in, how can I get involved? And when you have big name players or players who have a lot of followers on social media, for example Alex Morgan, or just seeing those team photos, it was really amazing to see the league come together, and just the fans. And afterwards she was saying, people saying, how can I help, how can I get involved, how do I get a t-shirt, was a very popular one. But for all the fans in attendance on the July 20th game, get to wear that shirt with pride, whether you got the purple one or there were a couple pink ones, I believe. You had
I had one of the pink ones, that's right. And everyone who was at the stadium that night took a pledge to stand up against domestic violence, and certainly the long-term ramifications of that foundation are being seen. And so a free kick coming up here for Houston, just shy of midfield. Jill Lloyden, 3 big saves tonight, and has kept Houston scoreless. Both teams vying to end the season on a positive note. Headed away by Nick. Sky Blue on a 4-game winning streak, Houston on a 5-game losing streak. Sky Blue wants their franchise record 5th consecutive victory. Houston looking to finish their expansion season out of the basement, as they are 2 points behind Boston Breakers. Sent out wide, Levin. Levin put it over. McLeod leaps into the air, did not touch it on the way through.
Great buildup from Hayes, being able to dish it out to Schmidt. Levin on that one could have taken a one-time shot, instead opted to take the second touch to set herself up, but as a result cut her ankle off a little bit, and then finally got a little too underneath it to have it go over the net.
McCarty loses it to Schmidt. And now a foul. Goodson grabbing for her shin, her ankle on her left leg. And already Sky Blue has used 2 of their subs. They may need to use a 3rd if Goodson can't continue, although she's up now.
It goes wide there, just
And she's going to take the free kick too.
I was about to zoom in.
Now she'll leave it for Lloyden.
No, don't.
Yeah, Goodson right now is probably just going to try to shake it off. As we look at the Sky Blue FC bench, the only real center back currently left would be Maddie Thompson, who does have a full game under her belt this season, since Christy Rampone, currently with the national team at this point. As Dan Loletta updated us, they were winning 1-0 when we talked at halftime.
Of course, that game started at 7:30, so we won't know the result before we go off the air here tonight. Schmidt and Nick right now are standing near the back line of defense. Schmidt was able to get it forward. Hayes, the cross, sends it along. Levin keeps it in. And it's kicked away. Throw-in coming up.
Good effort from Levin to make sure not allowing that ball to get over the end line, laying it off to Friels. Friels just not able to get there, though. But they still are into the offensive third with a quick throw-in now going to Ford.
Oh, Caitlin Ford sends the cross, and it's blocked away.
You could hear the approval from the fans on that quick hit around as she was able to work her way to the end line. Just Houston, though, being able to clear it out as they're now going into the attack.
Drop.
Out of the game, number 9, Caitlin Kyle. In the game, number 21, Melissa Henderson.
So Melissa Henderson, who played, this ball is kicked away from Ojai, who played for head coach Randy Waldrum at Notre Dame, is out of the game, or rather into the game is Henderson. Kaylin Kyle comes out, and we already mentioned the goalkeeping substitution made earlier as Erin McLeod gets into the game for Houston. Ojai. Those subs were made at the half. Ojai continues into the 18. Blocked away by Kutschel.
That may have been a mistake on the PA announcer. Looks like Kyle is still in play instead of having the longer ponytail. Looks like she tied it up more like a bun.
Those are the little things that help you identify from all the way up here as it goes all the way back to Lloyden again.
Funny thing, I think I just heard her directing the team, trying to cheer him on. The Canadian international being really one of the sparks for this team, and as Coach Waldrum said, Edwards being another one who unfortunately is not here tonight.
Of course, Edwards, it was announced on August 15th, getting a contract extension. Will return next year for the Dash and play at beautiful BBVA Compass Stadium, where the Dash had over 4,500 a game attendance-wise. Friels sends it through. Foligno, and it's too strong.
Okay, folks, in about a minute, we're going to announce the winners of the tennis ball toss.
The Dash on the move. Low cross and diving Jill Lloyden, able to keep it off the goal line and start it right back up the other direction. Friels up the right touch line. Levin, now Friels. Schmidt, knocked away from her. Brought ahead by Toulouse. Kyle, blown off the ball by Nick. Foul.
That play there, I was wondering if our head referee would be able to, well, was going to go over and talk to Nick on that. You saw she fully extended her arm, being able to foul her, but regardless, there'll still be a free kick for Houston now, as we're still 1-0 in the 59th minute. Lindsay Kutschall potentially getting her second game winner, her first one coming against Portland earlier this season.
So Toulouse comes out now. And now Rafael Souza is the final substitution for Houston. It comes in the 60th minute, so this is literally the entire bench for Houston now in the game. Kicked ahead by Romero. Knotted by Nick, taken by Hayes, kicked outside. McCarty. Touched out by Hayes.
Yes, substitution. Taking out of the game was number 19, Nina Berger. In the game, number 21.
So Henderson is on. We were later able to figure out it was Berger who was taken out, so it was the missing one. 19 came out, not number 9. Ball out on the far touchline, another throw.
I think there's just looking at the sheet and missing the number 1 in front of it may have been a simple error. I've had countless times where I look at something and I misread it, or you kind of see something that's not necessarily there. And we see Coco Goodson now back in form. Maybe just had a little bit of a hard knock, but now still moving into the game. The Sky Blue FC will look to try to add a little more to the scoreboard in their favor.
An insurance goal will be key here, as Houston and Sky Blue both have done a good job of getting the ball forward in this second half. Now for a throw.
Even in the last matchup on August 9th, we had the same situation where Sky Blue FC took a 1-0 lead going into halftime. Wasn't able to put the second one in until later in the match, and close to the 80th minute, and then Nadim once again scoring an added time to extend it to a 3-1 win.
So here's Katie Friels. This is a dangerous position. 20 yards off goal line extended, about 5-10 yards off the right touch line. Sends it to the back post. Rising Nick puts it wide left.
Ashley Nick getting some height on that header. Just wide, though. Thought we were going to see another instance like she did against Boston, getting a header in that game. But Katie Friels, once again, just a free kick specialist for this squad. We saw that in the last Houston match, she was able to set Nadia Nadim up for that diving header to get the 2-0 lead at that point, excuse me.
Of course, with Ashley Nick, we all know that athleticism runs in the family genes. Part of that tremendous Matthews family legacy in the National Football League. Kyle boots it outside. Looking for the cross. Henderson in the middle. Nice step over, the ball in. Cut out on the way to Henderson. Knocked outside. Johnson continues to work against Ohai. Ohai able to hold it in. Her cross is touched away by Cutshall, corner kick.
And with Nick, too, it's so many family members in the NFL. You wonder how she may even be able to get a chance to root for all those teams at this point.
No, I would assume there comes a point where if you've got 3 or 4 family members in the National Football League, there's only so many teams you can root for at any given time. That's when you start to choose some favorites, I guess.
Yeah, you'll look at the matchups and decide which game you prefer to watch, which has more importance.
Caught by Luyton, and she pulls it down on the goal line edge of the 6-yard box. Stolen away by Diggs, and outside for Souza. Sends the low bending cross that's deflected out for a corner.
Visit Whitewood.com or call your local Whitewood office today to take aim at the home of your dreams.
A reminder, Sky Blue FC presented by Meridian Health all season long, both on the field and on the broadcast. Thanks for tuning in tonight. 1-0 Sky Blue with the lead. Lindsay Cutshall with the goal. Jillian Luyden, a lot of nice saves to keep this thing a 1-0 match. Here's Oakes. All the way across and out for a goal kick.
In the second half so far, McLeod not really having to do a lot of work as of late, as we saw in the first half. O'Hara, Ocampo really adding the pressure, getting a lot of looks on net, just not able to put it in. Although we can say Ocampo was maybe credited for assist on that play, as she had the initial shot that Lindsay Cutshall followed the rebound to put it in. For right now, the game winner.
Sent up by Friels. 2 players chasing. A whiff on the clearance, and eventually it is touched away.
Back behind it, Maya behind it, Joe behind it.
Ingen got the all-important clearance. Now Oakes being chased and leaves it back.
You wonder on that play if there maybe was a slight miscommunication between Maya and Fellini, as they both went for the same ball and could have potentially deferred the other from getting to it.
Oaks up the left touch line. Souza wins the race, beats Ford. Ford a hard foul. Knocks it out for a corner. Rather than non-foul, just a hard hit.
In that instance, it looked like maybe Ford was looking more to use her body rather than going for the ball and mishit it. And instead, rolled it out for giving Houston another corner kick.
Oaks is standing there, so is Kalen Kyle, and so is Ohio. Kyle. The high ball to the back post. Deflected along further. Henderson can't reach it, but it was touched on the way through. Goal kick coming up for Sky Blue.
And the play just let it go through as it would have been offsides, but now just a goal kick instead for Sky Blue FC. Still 1-0. Now it's just a question of, are we going to see maybe some of the rookie players, Maya Hayes or Janelle Foligno, be able to end this season with a goal added to their score sheet?
Up by Romero, taken and sent back by Schmidt. And Lloyden lines it back the other way. Levin. Doing a good job holding on the right flank. Kicked away, but still holds on. Now it goes for a Sky Blue throw. Friels keeps it in. Kick to the middle, foul. Friels was the one who committed it, and it goes back the other direction. Houston will take control.
Now the deflection on that play, if it had continued, would have definitely worked in Sky Blue's favor, as Maya Hayes was right there ready to strike.
Reminder that the NWSL returns to ESPN2 this weekend. It's the NWSL playoffs. The field already set. Seattle Reign and Washington Spirit play an 11 o'clock p.m. start here for East Coasters. That's on ESPN2 on Sunday, and on Saturday, a 1 o'clock start. FC Kansas City hosts Portland Thorns, the defending champions, in Kansas City. That's all coming up on ESPN2 this weekend.
Keep going, Maya. Keep going, Maya.
Kyle pushed from behind. And a late whistle, but a whistle nonetheless.
Well, that's just a simple of waiting to see if the advantage would be called. There was no advantage. Easy free kick call going the other way as Houston now trying to find the equalizer, trying to come away with at least one more point. But with the tie, they would still end up finishing last in the league standings.
Henderson was the target there. We mentioned it in pregame, and this is a weird situation for these teams. You probably couldn't tell based on how they're playing, which is exactly the way you'd want it. But because of the Lisa Devanna trade during the offseason, Sky Blue FC does own Boston's first-round pick. If Houston were to win tonight, Sky Blue would pick 1st and 4th in the upcoming draft. If Houston does fall in this game or draws, Houston would get the 1st overall pick. Here's Schmidt, and it's knocked off the post. And out it goes. Still held on. Sky Blue on the attack. And it's kicked away from Foligno for a throw.
What a bullet by Sophie Schmidt. Split right through, just ricocheted off the post. I think I could heard it ding a little bit off of that. But Sky Blue FC unable to initially follow up, but still trying to get another chance or another look on goal.
Come on, Coco, get it, get it.
One of the key things to remember for Houston especially is there are 5 non-starters in the lineup. This falls to Ford. Ford nearly the move to break free, and it's grabbed by McLeod. But when you've got 5 players not in the starting lineup, that gives a lot of these players who don't see as much time a chance to earn a contract for next season, earn their way back in for another campaign. And there is a certain amount of desperation in both sides' play to try and get a win here and finish the season off on a good note.
Well done, Blue, better.
And again, as we mentioned, Houston is a very young team. So for them, the more exposure they get to a professional level, the more they compete at this high level, the more they'll become more accustomed to it. And for them, they have high hopes for next season already.
Bounces over everybody. Here's Levin. Levin's cross deflected away by Oaks. Here's another corner for Sky Blue FC in the 71st minute. Katie Friels, another corner for her, has found a couple of heads. This one is deflected off the player on the near post and held in.
Recycle.
Nick for Friels again, serves it across, bounces wide. Schmidt sends another cross. This one kicked out by Oaks, but falls to Nick, the long distance try right at her own player.
Back Tammy, back Tammy, back
And now Houston
Side on, Caitlin, side
executing
on.
a 1-on-3. Oh, high pushed from behind.
No way.
And a yellow card. I believe that's Kendall Johnson who got it.
He calls it on us now. Same thing in the first half.
3 players near where that official was pointing.
The 72nd minute. Yellow caution, number 12, Ashley Nick.
Ashley Nick gets that yellow card. And Nick throws her hands up. Me? So regardless, it is a free kick coming up for Houston.
Now on that play there, you wonder if he gave a yellow card, maybe thinking that Ojai had a goal-scoring opportunity, which a foul committed to prevent that would result to a yellow card. On that play, though, there were 3 players kind of surrounding it. You wonder how he decided who got that card.
Rebound.
This is Kaylin Kyle over the top. And Jillian Lloyden dives out, keeps it away from Whitney Engen, who is coming up the back post.
Lloyden read that play beautifully, came out and not only grabbed it, but made sure to not give up the rebound, as you saw several orange jerseys surrounding her.
Get out. Up.
Friels carries it forward. The through ball, Hayes put it right into McLeod.
Time.
She looks like she absolutely won't be denied a goal tonight.
McLeod coming way off her line, very aggressive, preventing Maya Hayes from putting that one in. Beautiful ball from Katie Friels, though, who was able to slip it behind the defense, giving Maya Hayes that opportunity.
Schmidt, a hard foul.
Hey.
And ball's kicked all the way down the other side.
Anything that she complains about.
So this is a great position after the Souza foul.
The same one that didn't foul in the first half. It should have been a card. Are you kidding me?
Sky Blue has won 4 in a row at Washington, at Western New York, at Houston, and against Western New York here at home. They had a route to the playoffs that closed over the weekend. They get this final game to try and add to a franchise record potential winning streak. If they win this one, it'd be 5 in a row. They did that once last season. An insurance goal here would certainly help.
Yellow card offensive, she's got nothing.
Friels lines up on the right of the ball. Here's the kick right in. And the wall able to keep it away from McLeod. Coco Goodson sprawls to the ground. She took that free kick.
Goodson there, I think, was trying to see if it would ricochet off the wall, maybe towards Katie Friels, but it didn't go her way. The dash being able to clear it out. But Sky Blue once again gaining possession. That's something Dan Loletta mentioned for Houston, trying to gain more possession but it's hard to do when you have Sky Blue FC playing very well together, especially in the midfield, which for them, they've really clicked at this point. Katie Friel, Sophie Schmidt, and Ashley Nick.
Well, it didn't work out the first time, but Marissa Diggs just touched the ball with her hand in the arc over the top of the box, and so they'll get basically a second shot at the same free kick.
You wonder this time if they'll have Coco Goodson try to rip it again, or if they'll have Katie Friels maybe chip it over, or even Sophie Schmidt. We've seen Sophie Schmidt last season have a couple free kick opportunities. The beautiful one against Seattle last year comes to mind.
When you look at the ball, Schmidt on the bottom of your screen, on the top of your screen is Friels, and between the two is Coco Goodson, who took the last free kick.
Every 2 yards past the penalty spot. From here, they're on the spot or in front of it.
Everybody lined up in front of the goal. It's Friels, and it's off the top of the wall. Taken by Johnson. Tried to shift it out wide. Nearly taken by Nick. But instead, Souza. Ohai gets around Schmidt. Ohai lines it up. Here's a half volley try by Souza right at the waiting Lloyden.
And Lloyding, too, having a wider stance allowed her to be able to grab that. You just saw it took a little skip on that. For Lloyden, it went in her favor. As it's still 1-0, looking to get her 4th clean sheet of the season.
No foul.
Sent to the middle of the field. Henderson not there in time. Lloyden another stop. Lloyden has commanded the box tonight. Through for Hayes, off her calf and right back.
Good, Jay.
But a steal holds the ball for Sky Blue. Foligno back for Levin. Kicked into the corner. Corner kick coming up.
Speaking of goalkeepers, although Jill Lloyden for Sky Blue luckily is here tonight, looking at the U.S. matchup against Switzerland. Right now will likely mark the first attempt. Hope Solo will try to break the USA's all-time shutout record. She's currently tied with former U.S. great Brianna Scurry at 71 career shutouts.
Friel's service is knotted away by the dash. Hope Solo, at least through 20 minutes, was scoreless. We haven't seen an update since.
Just the goalkeeper position in the U.S. has really been a battle, as you see a lot of keepers switching in and out of camp. Even Brittany Cameron last December got an opportunity to join the U.S. camp, be called in, and we saw Ashlyn Harris unable.
As here's Hayes, her shot deflected. Leaves it to the middle. Friels. Back for Hayes. She fires, and it's off Oakes. Hayes tried to leave it wide right. Off of Friels again. Set up. Schmidt outside, Levin. Levin over everybody and brought back the other way, but Ashlyn Harris, you mentioned the Washington keeper, part of the equation for this Switzerland roster, rather the U.S. against Switzerland.
And with that, though, having the concussion, still been 2 weeks out. She did not play against Washington last Saturday, was not able to join camp, so Alyssa Nair was called up, and she was unbelievable for Boston this season, leads the league in saves, and really well-deserving opportunity given to her.
Well, and there's her, and then there's everybody else, the way it's gone this year. The only player in triple digits on saves.
He currently has 106, and then McLeod comes in second at 83.
Well, you could look at that two ways. There's a reason Boston is in 8th place right now. That is that they give up a lot of shots, but you look at Nair, certainly a reason why they have been in a lot of games this year. There's a good chance they wouldn't have been if she hadn't made a league-high 106 stops in 24 starts.
And the last time we saw her here against Sky Blue FC. She was really the reason that they were able to get the draw, made several huge diving saves. One comes to mind where Katie Friels had a great shot from distance, and they are just laying out, diving, extending to keep it tied. And then, of course, she also had the PK save to really solidify the 1-1 draw.
Sky Blue will throw in the 81st minute. Final game of the NWSL regular season, year number 2, nearly complete. The semifinals this coming weekend on ESPN2 matches the 1 and the 4 seed. That is Seattle hosting the Washington Spirit, one of the shocking pairs of teams that made it into the playoffs this year. And, of course, they get to play each other in Seattle on Sunday night. And on Saturday afternoon, a couple teams that maybe we expected to get back to the postseason. FC Kansas City hosting Portland Thorns. Levin cuts it back. And kicked away from Levin in the middle of the 18.
There's a play there when you look at that and say she probably could have taken the early shot, instead opted to take one too many touches, allowing Houston to get back and make the defensive play.
Kyle. McFarland out wide right. McCarty punched away. Goodson was there too. It's a corner coming up. This is Oaks, the defender coming up on the corner. An in-swinger headed by Nick. And a throw deep in Sky Blue territory coming up, and well, the credit there goes to McFarland. Battled with Ford.
You look at the bench, a couple players warming up, but Maddie Thompson lining up. Doesn't have a penny on right now, talking with head coach Jim Gabera, and it looks like she may be the final substitute for Sky Blue FC as she now hands her card to the referee.
And a tough slip and fall keeps a near opportunity away from Souza. Brought ahead by Henderson, Notre Dame alum, kicked away by Nick. Foligno tries wide left, and it's too strong for Maya Hayes, who is working up that left touch line. And here's that final sub for Sky Blue. And that'll do it for Maya Hayes. She had a very impressive performance tonight.
Not only that, she's had a very impressive second half surge. And Dan and I talked at halftime. A lot of it, I think, has to do with Nadia Nadim coming in, giving her the confidence to be able to play in a system where she is allowed to use her strengths. And Maddie Thompson will come in, normally a defender, wondering if she's going to maybe play a mid position, push the player up. As she seems to be talking to Sophie Schmidt now, as that looks to be the case.
And you can see Schmidt immediately working forward. Sophie Schmidt never played forward competitively until her sophomore year with the Pilots at Portland, but has that scoring touch. Goodson being chased from behind, and will kick it out for a throw for the Dash as they try and come back from a 1-0 hole they dug all the way back midway through the first half. Lindsay Kutschel, the go-ahead goal for Sky Blue FC tonight.
We've seen head coach Jim Gabera try to play Sophie up top as well throughout the past 2 seasons, mixing her in, but I think she really has found her place as a defensive center mid. She may not be able to get the recognition in regards to the score sheet, but she does all those little things that help keep the midfield together and help them get into the quick transition into the attack.
Hard foul behind the play. Souza is given a quick yellow. Written up. That is her first yellow card of the year, and it comes on a hard challenge on Sophie Schmidt.
On that play, it was just a late tackle. So yellow card really easily given as Joe Lloyden's going to take the free kick for Sky Blue FC.
Is that a case where you would have rather seen advantage, or do you think there wasn't really enough there to merit an advantage play?
In that case, I didn't see something that would really turn into an advantage attack, so it was the right call to bring it back. I'm sure others may think differently, though.
Taken by Foligno, one of the many Glenn Crooks alums that have returned to Rutgers and Yurcak Field. Played through the middle again. Foligno forces it outside this time. Brought in, nice move, the cross, and Schmidt was there, but it's headed away near the goal line. Back for Levin. Levin the cross, and it is touched wide left of the net. Looked like Foligno was working in there.
Looks like Cutshall was the one who came all the way up, as you see Maddie Thompson dropping back more, switching in for her. Cutshall trying to get the corner kick, saying it hit off of Diggs, but instead it was a goal kick. We've already seen Cutshall use her height, getting the game winner against Portland off a header. So when you want to get into the attack, you've got her and Coco Goodson as well, real key targets.
May have just heard our PA announcer mention the championship game also on ESPN2. That game on Sunday, August 31st. And then a lot of the focus for a lot of the players in this league shifts to World Cup qualifying. McLeod not too worried about World Cup qualifying with Team Canada. They don't need to qualify. Although the volunteer head coach for Trinidad sits on the bench down with the Houston side. Head coach Randy Waldrum taking over, had the team in for a couple of weeks in Houston, is missing his first game of his tenure, an assistant running the show tonight, but he's taking a early morning flight before the sun gets up to head down and start his run at the head of that national team's senior program.
When we talked with him before the game, just really some of the struggles that he's seen are saying that the U.S. is so fortunate to even have just equipment to play and transportation, things that you wouldn't really think of when you're a soccer player in this league.
Said Trinidad showed up in Houston with 9 soccer balls. That's it. A couple of pennies too, but not enough to run a full scrimmage, and the team actually came in small groups. They didn't even make it as a team together, something that I suppose some of the CONCACAF teams here in North America would take for granted.
But he's really hopeful that you look at that qualifying, you can say 1 and 2 could most likely go to the U.S., Mexico, and then you've got the 3 and 4 slot where really that's a battle where it could be anyone's game. You could have a team come up and sneak their way in.
And there's a playoff for the 4th spot in CONCACAF, and said, who knows, maybe we could work our way in there with the Trinidad squad that he's putting together. Talked about how they have a lot of pace. Johnson allows this to roll out, and it's a goal kick. Jillian Lloyden will take it. Waldrum is a youth coach in the U.S. system for a while. This is his chance to jump to the helm of a senior team, and certainly his experience in the NWSL will help in that cause. Not too much of a transition dealing with some professional players. We're into the final minute of regulation in the Sky Blue 12-game home slate in the 2014 campaign. And the team looking to hold on for their 5th straight win. Houston still trying to get that goal to tie it up. Romero. And Nick kicks this out for another throw.
This is the point where you look and see which team's going to be able to maintain that focus for the final stretch and be able to either pull out the winner for Houston, maybe notch it up and escape with a point from New Jersey.
There's the toss. Romero again on that throw. Here's a long distance try just over the bar. It was Oaks from distance.
Great timing from Oaks. Read that well. A lot of power behind it. Just didn't dip enough to go underneath the crossbar. But those are the type of shots where you look at that and you say there's a lot of hope there, that there's a lot of potential, where you say that's what they needed to be doing earlier on. Just take those shots and don't be afraid to put something on target.
2 minutes of stoppage time, of which we're already 20 seconds in. Thompson involved in the contact. Waldrum telling his team, slow it down just a little bit. Now McLeod will come up and take this free kick.
And with the time, you want to try to not get too frantic, and if you do score, you don't want to give enough time for Sky Blue to maybe come back and have a heroic game-winning goal.
Launched in, headed by Nick, still loose. McCarty the turn, kicked away by Ford. And upfield it goes. We are 1 minute into stoppage. Kicked along, Friels may look to lob from this distance. Looked for Thompson, and it was taken away from her just in time. Friels taken down, a foul coming up. 45 seconds left in the minimum allotted stoppage. Played quickly outside, and now you begin to guard in the corner. The Sky Blue FC postgame report, the final edition of the year, comes up following the conclusion of the match right here on the NWSL Soccer YouTube channel. Corner coming up, and this may be Sky Blue's last chance to tack on another goal.
With Sky Blue, they're going to take their time, finish out this one play, and at this point, it looks to be once this goal-scoring opportunity for Sky Blue is cleared away, the whistle will be blown.
We are at 2 full minutes. Sky Blue ends their season at home in style. 5 consecutive wins. The Dash look like they will head for their 6th consecutive loss and go pointless in their final 8. Full time, Sky Blue FC wins the home season finale 1-0 over the Houston Dash. So the Sky Blue FC season comes to a conclusion, and it is a strong finish for Sky Blue, a team that misses the playoffs after earning the 4th seed a year ago. Mike Watts with Danielle Diavanzo for the Sky Blue FC postgame report. And Danielle, this is the form that I think a lot of people felt Sky Blue FC would find earlier in the year. They find it a little too late, but this is what you want to see. And now you've got the 2nd and the 4th overall pick in the upcoming draft.
That's going to be huge for Sky Blue FC. You look at the college draft right now, it's still a little early, but you'd say Morgan Bryan would be the #1 pick. If Houston decides to pick her, then there's that case. If not, maybe another player may step up. But you look at Sky Blue FC right now, this is the form that they wanted to get at. As you said, it was a little too late. They weren't able to get there until they had that nice long break between the July 2nd and the July 6th, and July 20th game. But for Sky Blue FC, they want to be able to continue this momentum going into next year. Well, last year, you look at the team, they started out strong, then they kind of faltered off near the end, went from the top of the table down to 4th, and lost the semifinal match. So I think a lot of the beginning of the season was rebuilding that squad.
Lindsay Kutchell comes away with the game-winning goal in this one, the lone goal between Houston and Sky Blue. For her 2nd game-winning goal of the campaign. And it was one that was orchestrated initially by Schmidt, touched by Ocampo, and Kutchell there for the rebound.
You look at this, if it was, say, hockey where you got the double assist, Sophie Schmidt would have tallied that, and she probably would have a lot more assists on her stat sheet if that were the case. But Sophie Schmidt orchestrated that play, Ocampo with the initial shot, and Lindsay Kutchell, even though she's a defender, she did what you're told as an attacker to do, follow, crash the net, and she was right there. Henninger did get a hand on it, but had enough pace from Kutchell to get into the back of the net with the game winner.
And Jill Lloyden comes away with another shutout for her, and it was well-deserved. She made a lot of tough saves tonight.
Lloyden didn't have to do as much in the beginning, but came up big when she needed to. Got her 4th shutout of the season.
And maybe one of the great stops of this game, Ohai off the post. Certainly the post was helpful tonight for both sides. couple of spots where it came up big for both groups. Certainly a long-distance drive from Coco Goodson didn't hurt.
Again, Coco Goodson has that strength and power. And you see another powerful shot from Sophie Schmidt. She hits the opposite post that Ojai hit. So maybe there's a little something with that net this game.
And Levin trying, but a little bit too high on her effort. Late in the game, a couple opportunities for Houston, and, well, Jill Lloyden was up to the task every time.
Jill Lloyden, once again, came up big. She's come up huge for this team in the final stretch. Again, has only allowed 3 goals in their 5-game win streak.
And there's the game-winning effort. It was a nice ball over the top. It was touched initially by Ocampo, who left due to injury, and it was Kutschel who came up with the game-winning score. Well, this is our final broadcast of the year, so with that in mind, Danielle, your thoughts about this 2014 campaign and what maybe to look forward to in 2015?
Well, with 2015, initially you're going to wonder how the World Cup will affect it, but as Dan mentioned in the halftime show, there was a big carryover from that World Cup, so we'll look to see if that may help lift the NWSL and get more fans into the stands, get more viewers on YouTube, on ESPN, whatever it may be. There's a lot of potential here, and seeing that the league was able to expand this year with the Houston Dash really has high hopes for this league.
Certainly so. Well, for Danielle D'Avanzo, I'm Mike Watts. For Glenn Crooks, the recently retired head coach for Rutgers women's soccer. For Dan Laletta, of course, who was with us for pre and half throughout the year, and Tom Kolker wasn't with us here today. Thanks for tuning in this whole year on the NWSL Soccer YouTube channel. Sky Blue gets a winning record on the year. They hold the 2nd and the 4th spots in the upcoming NWSL draft, but they fall just a hair short of the NWSL playoffs. For our entire tremendous crew who braved with us through the lightning and the rain, and, well, there was no snow mixed in, but if we had gone another month, there probably would have been. Thanks to all of them, and certainly thanks to you for tuning in throughout the season. Final score here for this Sky Blue FC regular season home finale. Sky Blue FC 1, Lindsay Kutschel in the first half, Houston Dash 0. So long, everybody.
You get the look. You get the leash. You get out the door. You get sudden numbness and a severe headache. Signs of stroke. So you get help. You get to a Meridian emergency room. You get treatment found only in primary stroke centers to stop stroke in its tracks. You get better. And back to your best friends. Learn more at meridianneuroscience.com.
The Soccer for Success program is an innovative after-school program that uses soccer as a tool for social change, specifically to fight childhood obesity.
We're funding ongoing programming for these children after school hours. After school hours for children are the most dangerous time for children in this country. We're filling that gap with a positive program that has health benefits, social benefits, and it's just plain fun.